You know, bees actually are attracted to sweet things.
Mm-hmm.
I found that out when I was camping with our older brother in Utah. We had a really good snack. It was like pickle spears with, I think it was, Phil made them. I think it was cream cheese. We had like deli meat wrapped around it. So we had these, and we were in the mountains of Utah overlanding, and we're sitting out, we're making dinner and snacking on these things, and like a bee shows up, and then another bee shows up, and then like a colony of bees show up. We're like, what is going? We're getting attacked, and so we like dive into his truck, and we shut the door, and we're eating these things. We're like, what is going on? And like we're surrounded by bees.
As bees are at the window going like,
yeah, like the old,
Watching
like
you eat your snack.
yeah, like little addicts. Do you remember when we were growing up, the Mervyn's clothing store commercials? So there was a clothing store called Mervyn's, like a department store. And the commercials was always like this one lady just running up to the door early in the morning before the sun rose. And she'd be on the glass. She's like, open, open, open. Open, open, open. And that's what these bees were doing. And so we were Googling. Yeah, we were Googling. It was like, what is, this thing about bees? And we found out that they're attracted to like catnip. To sweet, and so they were attacked. So we put one of those pickle spears with deli meat out onto the table, and they just like swarmed it.
Oh yeah,
like barracuda.
Wow,
it was nuts. Yeah. So if you're out camping and you hate bees or you're allergic, avoid having sweet foods, sweet snacks, and keep it savory.
And welcome to Break Check.
Welcome to Break Check. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So, well,
how you doing?
Starting the show off with some camping advice.
Yeah, camping advice. What we talking about today?
I'm going to let Richard start off the topic today because the topic I have, you guys may not like.
Is boring?
No, it's just me may not like it.
It's going to reduce us from 2 to 0.
No.
Or 3 to 0.
You knew. You know better.
He planned this.
It's the reality of the world we live in.
Do you not realize that not long ago, we responded to a comment that set us up for failure, and we overcame.
We did.
We did.
We overcame. It is possible.
We did.
So if you bring this up and you ruin it,
I will try to discuss the topic.
There will be no shortage of banana cream pies where I will send you.
I found a recipe for banana cream cookies, and I will feed you banana cream cookies.
And you will think they're not banana cream, and she'll be like, here, try this new cookie. You'll be like, yes, cookie. Why?
Betrayed.
I will try to discuss the topic without using the term in which
don't give us a I will try.
Do or do not. There is no try.
There is no try.
Well, go ahead and discuss your topic, bro.
Well, we all knew who the Stig was.
Yeah.
From the show Top Gear.
I think still is.
Do they still have a Stig on Top Gear?
Do they still have a Top Gear?
I believe so. I think Top Gear is ending this year.
Yeah, I think this is in their final season. When the founders of the show, when the main people left, it sort of just...
Yeah.
Well, because the people who took over, they didn't understand what made Top Gear.
Yeah. They still had decent content.
Yeah. It was decent, but it wasn't.
It wasn't the same.
Yeah.
It's like you don't have Top Gear, but you have us. So,
right.
Sorry.
Top Gear was way more about the 3 hosts than it was about anything that they did, in my opinion.
But so the Stig was, if you're not familiar on Top Gear, they would always test these cars, and they would have different vehicles. They had one specific track, and they would see how well the car does in this road course.
Yep.
And the Stig was this professional race car driver who would set the lap times on all these cars.
Right. And you use the same driver because it's more consistent from car to car.
Yeah. So same driver techniques, same tendencies, same abilities, that sort of thing. And so they would use everything from like a little Fiat to a McLaren. He would race it all. And so
even the Bugatti Veyron.
Yeah, and the Veyron. And then sometimes they would have celebrities on, and they would run a car, but it was never different cars. It was like the same car.
Yeah,
so the control was the type of car.
Yeah, but they were taught by the Stig.
Yeah, and so the Stig would give them some pointers and teach them. So there was always these rumors about who is the Stig because they never revealed his identity. Like, who is this professional driver? Because he's, in every way, shape, or form, he was a good driver. he was a very skilled, knowledgeable driver. So they were like, well, that kind of narrows it down. Like, it's not Jeremy Clarkson's nephew.
Right.
Because he's not a professional race car driver.
That we know of.
That we know of. It's not Clarkson or Richard or James. It's none of those guys.
Because you see them with the Stig.
Yeah. They'll stand in the same shot, which, doesn't mean anything. So there's always been these rumors about who is the Stig.
Right.
There's been multiple people who have been approached and talked to. At one point in 2003, there's a column called the Sunday Mirror.
Okay.
Who claims that they figured it out, and they said the Stig is none other than ex-Formula One driver Perry McCarthy. Huh. So they got a hold of Perry, and he had the same height, the same build, the same driving style, like everything matched. But Perry McCarthy, he wouldn't deny it, but he never confirmed it.
Oh.
And then there were other prime suspects, such as a Formula One champion named Damon Hill, a professional driver named Julian Bailey, and then other names were Ben Collins, Darren Turner, and Alan McNish. But like the most well-known name is Michael Shoemaker, who was like this, like if you know music, you have the Beatles, and then you have Paul McCartney is like the Beatle.
Yeah.
Right? Shoemaker was like the Paul McCartney of racing.
Oh, okay.
And so there were rumors that it was Michael Shoemaker.
Right.
That was the Stig. But still, no one has ever come out and said, yes, I was the Stig. I believe it was here recently where, although no one's ever confirmed the identity, I think it was Perry McCarthy. He did an interview where he actually said, I was this, and this is my experience on the set and doing all these things. But there's still, outside of that, there's still never been like a confirmation from the show or the casting directors or just the driver claiming to have been the Stig.
Right.
But yeah, so none of the main characters, none of the directors, none of the casting director, nobody's ever been like, it was this person.
Right.
Oh my gosh.
Ben Collins does claim to have been the Stig.
Yeah, so does Perry McCarthy.
Yeah. So
it could have been multiple people over multiple years. It would be interesting to go back and sort of analyze tape.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he drove the same course and take like the first couple seasons and see how he attacked different corners and his braking and his acceleration times.
Right.
And then go to like the last few seasons and see if it sort of matches.
Yeah, if it's the same or...
Yeah. Obviously it'll be different because the type of cars you can brake later, accelerate sooner.
Yeah.
But as far as
the technique,
the entry to the apex, the lines that they chose.
Yeah.
That would change. That's changing a little bit driver to driver.
I'm thinking about so when they go past the tires, if you used to watch the show, or if you watch the show, you'll know what I mean. There's a part of the track where the track actually, you go one way in one part, and then you kind of come around, and then you cross the track. And there's a set of tires there that kind of give you a guide of where to go. So there was always a point where the camera was kind of, you could see the tires in the shot, and the car would go flying by, and Clarkson would be like, going past the tires. But in that shot, the Stig would often take the car slightly off the track and actually run the tire through a piece of grass right there, and it would like dig out the grass. And I'm remembering when...
So here's a shot of the Top Gear test track.
Okay, yeah.
So you can kind of see here in the center where it says tire wall. That's what he's talking about.
Yes. But I remember throughout the years, the Stig would go different amounts past the grass.
Cut the corner a little bit
they would
more.
cut the corner either more or less. And now whether he did that because of the type of car or whether he did that because it was a different driver, I don't know.
But race car drivers, they're so consistently accurate that when they hit that corner, even doing triple digit speeds,
oh yeah,
they're like, it's like the same amount of tire cuts that corner every single time.
Yeah, it's a mark of a great driver is consistency.
And so if you have, even if half of your tire goes over into the grass versus your full tire, that's a very clear indication to that precision of it's a different driver.
Right.
Especially if it's a one-time deal. If he does 10 laps and it happens one time, then maybe it was just a different line in consistency. But if every single time, if 9 out of 10 he's hitting that, and then 3 months later they're hitting it differently 9 out of 10 times, that's a different person.
Probably. So I don't know. That's one thing that popped in my head when you were talking about that. It's like, oh yeah, I remember that. Like the mark he would hit would change a little bit.
Yeah.
You remember that episode where the car like really crashed into a wall? That was me as Stig that day.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they did a good job crashing.
I loved how they would always like they had the American Stig and they had like
The American.
The American.
That's when they came to Grand Tour, right?
No, the American Stig. So this was back in Top Gear times.
Oh, when the American Top Gear.
Yeah. No. This was the original 3, like the legit Top Gear.
Okay.
And they came to America and they were testing something and they had the American Stig instead of the Stig because it was always the cousin.
So they were trying to say.
It was always the Stig's cousin.
So they were saying that
love
it was
it.
a different Stig.
Yeah, they're
Okay.
like, because Jeremy would be like, it's not the Stig, but it's the Stig's American cousin, and it was this driver that was really overweight, and he comes out and Ham is like, oh, big Stig.
Eating that McDonald's.
I wonder if that was the same dude that they had as the American when they did Grand Tour.
Maybe
'Cause that was a chunky dude.
And there was also a truck driving Stig that had a tanned arm.
One tanned arm.
Yeah.
I love it.
Did he have his sleeve off and they tanned the arm, or was the sleeve was a tan color?
They tanned the suit.
Oh, I love that.
And then he got out of the truck and they're like, oh, he's almost as big as American Stig.
That's awesome.
Eating snacks on the way out.
Oh, and there was another one too. They went to Japan.
Actually.
And the Stig's Japan cousin, he like kicked the door down and like came out like doing a bunch of karate,
Martial arts.
and like he was like attacking like everyone.
You could never
around.
make that joke nowadays.
Oh yeah, no.
You would be canceled.
No,
in a
you
minute.
still can. If you don't care.
You can.
I mean, you can.
Yeah.
You should. You should.
Comedy true comedy where it's just fun needs to make a comeback.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. Man, that's
You
hilarious.
just not care about being canceled.
Right?
Yeah.
You can't be canceled if you just keep making content.
Yeah, exactly.
So do you think, here's a question. Do you think the Stig is a coward
Is a coward?
for never showing his face? Never being like, this
What if
is
he
me?
didn't have a face?
Or
I was gonna say.
do you think he's so humble that he goes, I don't want any credit to me as a person. I want my performance to show.
But what if he didn't have a face?
Let's just say that. I mean,
Maybe he didn't.
they said that they grew the Stig, didn't?
That he was formed in a lab?
Yeah, like he wasn't. Well, we don't know. Like
Maybe
there's been so
maybe
many.
he was AI.
There's been so many accusations about the Stig created by Jeremy Clarkson himself. I don't think even Clarkson knows.
Oh, what if he looked like Jeremy Clarkson? No wonder he wore a helmet. I'm just kidding.
What if the Stig is Chuck Norris?
It very well could be.
I could see that.
Yeah. Yeah. Chuck Norris doesn't race a car. Wait, how did that go?
Chuck Norris didn't race the car. The car. Wait, no. That's the opposite.
Chuck Norris waved the green flag and the checkered flag on a drag race.
So, the gentleman
for
who
Jason.
created, helped create electricity, and the car brand that is named after him.
Well, at least you're trying.
Nikola?
The other one.
Yeah, but his last name,
Oh yeah, yeah.
Nikola's
Yeah.
last
Yeah,
name.
yeah.
It's his last name.
Nicola's last name car brand.
Yeah. Good job. Damn. Go on.
So, U.S. registrations fell 25% in February.
Woohoo!
I
Nice.
thought you might like that.
That is good news. Like Ron Burgundy, that is good news.
So, Ford, Hyundai, Kia, BMW, and Rivian. Am I allowed to say Rivian?
Yeah, you just can't say that which must not be named.
Okay. Well, they posted strong gains.
Is Ford still losing like 42,000 with every sale of the Lightning? Probably.
Yeah. So that was another part of this whole conversation was that the vehicles who use alternative energy methods,
Who conduct power.
yes, they are having massive discounts right now, like 5-figure discounts. Because
Really? Like
yeah,
10 grand plus.
yes,
Ouch.
yeah. So
Please buy our things.
Yeah.
Please, sir.
that's basically
Please have some more.
I beg of thee.
that's basically it. Like car dealerships can't get rid of them in America.
Wow.
So
I tell you what, I'll give you a car. You buy a car.
See?
just so I don't have to keep plugging it in every
Yeah.
day. So like Nissan is offering almost $16,000 off of one of their alternative power crossovers.
Which model?
The
Leaf?
Era? ARIYA.
Nissan Era.
ARI area?
Area, yeah. But Mercedes-Benz is also taking $19,442 off of the average price of the EQS SUV.
Almost 20 grand.
Almost 20 grand.
What?
Yeah.
Dang.
What's the starting price on that?
Well, that one has a starting price of $104,000.
Oh.
But it takes it from
But
104 to 80.
To like 80.
To 84.
Yeah. So that's still a huge discount
Yeah.
on a vehicle. It's a Mercedes-Benz, so it's a luxury vehicle.
20%.
Yeah.
Almost 20%.
Yeah, a 19% discount. So, but yeah, on average, automakers are discounting on alternative energy vehicles nearly $6,000 on average.
I'm not a malicious person. I don't want to say I told people so. But
Yeah.
it's not the right step right now.
Right.
Hybrid.
And
You ever go downstairs and the people who made the stairway didn't measure out the distance properly, and so like all the steps are evenly spaced, and the last one is like 3 inches taller, and so you misstep. You're like, ah!
yeah,
You catch yourself,
kinda
but it's
trip it.
really ugly.
right.
That's what going to this right now is.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, step. Ah! That's what that would be.
But yeah, another shot at this industry is that
He's doing good. He's doing well.
suppliers scrambled to avoid low factory utilization because they've been supplying parts for these alternative energy vehicles, and manufacturers are slowing down
Great.
on them. So the manufacturers, though, of these companies, or these companies who are manufacturing these parts, they're going back to manufacturing parts for ICE vehicles
Yeah.
and hybrids.
Internal combustion engine.
Yeah.
Nice.
So it's like the market's still growing, but very slowly and not the way that they want. And it's like, I mean, it's not looking great right now.
Trying to take a leap when you don't need to take a step.
Yeah,
What happened to that in 5 years? We're going to be green?
I know. They actually pushed that back.
Oh.
So
did they?
the government
What do you know?
reduced their requirements pushing
Yeah.
alternative energy vehicles.
Is California still requiring is that what they pushed back by this year? All vehicle sales will be.
The federal government pushed back
Yeah.
their timeline, but I don't think California did. I think
They're still
California
saying
still,
like you can't buy an ICE vehicle after X day.
yeah, 2035, I think it is. But yeah, that was everything I had for my topics.
Cool.
Your conspiracy.
I mean, if you want to hear about someone who was disappeared, and I say it that way on purpose.
I want to hear who was disappeared.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he didn't choose to be disappeared.
He did not choose to be disappeared. Okay.
Do you know the name?
Wait. We got to change everything. Put on your hat.
Because this is actually a conspiracy.
Change the hat.
What's your theory? Who disappeared?
If I told you
Who is disappeared?
the story of Phil Wasson, there was a man, a Mormon, from Ontario, Canada.
Okay.
And so this Mormon went on to, he had a family, he had kids, and he went on a Mormon mission trip to the area around Roswell, New Mexico.
Okay.
This is back during the whole, Roswell UFO days when there was crashes and all these things.
Gotcha.
And so anyway, while he was on his mission trip, he would write letters back home to his family, as you do, as you would, saying about his experiences and things that he was doing. So his wife and his kids would get these letters, and they would get pictures and see these things and read about these things his dad was doing. Well, while in Roswell, he comes across this guy who was a government employee. He was a trapper. He would trap, wild animal, wild game as they would get overpopulated. So that's what his job was. His name was Phil Wasson.
Okay.
Specific animals that were overpopulated?
Yeah, so like you would get like bobcats, or you get like too many deer,
Or zebra.
Oh, yeah, okay. Zebra in Roswell, New Mexico.
Yeah.
Right. They did it similar, like on like Air Force bases at the end of runways where they have like foresty areas. Sometimes they get overpopulation of deer, and they'll shut the base down for a weekend, and they'll have people go in and hunt the deer to keep the population down, so they don't have deer run out on the runway. That kind of thing. So population control of animals.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So anyway, Phil Wasson was a government trapper.
Okay.
And this Mormon guy, it didn't give me his name, but he meets Phil Wasson one day, and they get to become friends, and they're talking. And one day, Phil invites this Mormon and his buddies, the missionaries, to his place, and he goes to his shed, and he's like, "Hey, I want to show you guys something." They got to know each other at this point.
Okay.
And he says, "Hey, I feel like I can trust you guys. I want to show you something."
Okay.
And so he takes them to his shed, and he has all of his, some of his trappings hung up there, and some animals that have been taxidermied.
Okay.
And he pulls out this piece of metal, and he sets it down, and he goes, "There was a UFO crash, and I was out trapping, and I went over and I took a piece of metal from it." And he goes, "This is this piece of metal."
Okay.
And he goes, "I want to show you something cool." And he takes a sledgehammer, and he starts beating on it. Doesn't leave a scratch, doesn't leave a dent, nothing.
What?
Takes a grinder, starts cutting into it, no scratches, and it breaks the grinder.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's cool.
And so he takes this piece of metal, and years later, he ends up telling like a scientist friend about it. Mm-hmm. And he sends him the metal to this analyst, and he starts testing it and doing all these things, and he's trying to figure out what kind of metal this is.
Right.
And then this scientist goes on, and he's talking about, like on a radio show, about this metal material that they've been doing all these tests on. They can't figure out where it's from, how it's comprised, what's in it.
It's vibranium.
Right. Yeah, why they can't damage it. Yeah. And shortly after this radio show where this guy's talking about it, Phil Wasson was disappeared.
What?
He was disappeared. His house was completely emptied. There was no sign of him. You can't find him anywhere. If you look up Phil Wasson on the internet, it's a different person. It's not the one. You can still find information about it and like pictures of him holding up some of his animals. If they went and contacted the son and the person of this Mormon man, and like they still have all these letters that explain, "Hey, I saw this piece of metal. I saw this. I saw that. Here's some pictures of their dad with Phil Wasson holding up, an animal that they caught." But they're trying to say that Phil Wasson never existed. This piece of metal doesn't exist, and he was disappeared. Yeah.
Huh.
Yep.
That's
I
crazy.
don't even know. We don't know where the metal is right now. It's probably somewhere.
If it's real.
If it's real, well, they have pictures, and they have this guy's letters. Like, why
metal?
would this guy lie in these letters to his family about this?
I don't know.
Like, if I came across something like that, and I wrote a letter back to you guys, and like, why would I make this stuff up? I'd be like, "Mom, tell my family about this. This is cool."
Right?
I don't know why they would want to hide stuff like that, though, because it gives the opportunity to be able to like upgrade our technology.
The biggest reason I could think of would be that if it got into enemy hands, then an enemy force could easily take you out with the technology that you couldn't hope to understand.
Yeah.
So I could see that as being the reason why you would be afraid of letting people know that this thing exists.
Yeah.
But I did actually watch a video not too long ago. I think it was just a day or two ago, where they said, what would happen if a F-22 fighter from today somehow got time traveled back to World War I.
Oh, where they're fighting like F-86 Sabres and stuff.
Yeah. And
they didn't have Sabres. Those were Vietnam era.
No.
You would have to have stuff like prop jobs.
Yeah, like prop planes and stuff. But and so the guy was talking about, obviously nothing back then could even dream of touching what the capabilities of like an F-22 Raptor is. Mm-hmm. But he's like, honestly though, I don't think that it would affect the war like at all, because they wouldn't have any way of maintaining this jet. Like,
yeah, they wouldn't have that type. I don't think they would have that kind of fuel.
Right. So even if
They couldn't develop armament for it.
right, they wouldn't even have the paint necessary to like keep it, stealthy or whatever. Not that they need to, because I don't know if they even had radar back then. And it was interesting because he talked about so even if that happened, it wouldn't really affect the war at all, because it would just be this piece of technology that scientists back then wouldn't even have the faintest idea of like how it worked or how to even begin looking at it to understand it. And it's like if you think about it, with like if a UFO came down to Earth, even if our best scientists and our best analysts and everything looked at it,
Didn't understand it.
yeah, it's like you wouldn't even know where to begin. Even our like fundamental knowledge of like, okay, how, like, what is this material made out of? We wouldn't even know where to begin, because you wouldn't even know the process it took to make the material.
And there is also areas on our planet that we haven't discovered, and like depths that we haven't been to. So I mean, it could be a material that's on the Earth,
right?
But they don't know,
and we just don't know about it.
And I got to correct. So I kept saying Phil Wasson. His name's Paul Wasson. The guy who was disappeared.
Or maybe it was Phil and they
maybe it
just
was
changed
Phil.
the name.
Maybe.
Maybe it is. There was technology, supposedly, back then during like World War II. I don't know if Hitler was working on it.
Well, World War One.
I know. Oh, I'm talking about World War II now.
Oh, okay.
But I changed it. But
Elephants.
I don't know if Jason's heard of this. Maybe you've heard of this, Richard.
I've heard of everything and nothing at the same time.
So apparently there was something about teleportation that he was working on. Hitler, I don't know if it was him or somebody else.
It was like molecular manipulation.
Something like, yeah. And there was like something with like this big ship. Have you heard of this? And they tried to teleport it or something like that. And there were people involved. And then the ship came back and the people were like fused into the ship.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's kind of like in Willy Wonka, where that little kid was turned into little particles.
Oh, yeah.
And then they tried to put him back together, but he was smaller. Or in the movie Spaceballs, the comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Where he tried to move from one room to the other and his head was on backwards.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, or in Star Trek when they're beaming people up and down. Yeah, so there's been a lot of experiments on molecular manipulation and transporting it from one place to another, but it's never really come back together the same way.
Yeah.
Well,
They do it a lot with animals.
Or in what is that, Galaxy Quest?
Yeah, where that kid comes up inside out.
Yeah, inside out, and they're like,
Yeah. What happened? Nothing.
nothing.
I watched a video about teleportation, and he explained it in a way that made me be like, I don't think I'd ever want to do that. It's like, because basically, like, you can't send a material that we know of faster than the speed of light. So if you wanted to teleport something somewhere, the fastest way to do it would actually be to completely deconstruct it. Basically, if you're teleporting a human, basically kill them, completely deconstruct their molecules, and then their molecules just stay there. And then you use new molecules in a different location, and you create a new version of them.
It's like cloning molecules.
Yeah.
Yeah, you deconstruct these, and then you make copy and paste.
Yeah,
And that's kind of what it is.
So it's like, but the thing is, you're not actually teleporting them if you do that.
No.
You're literally
Recreating.
killing them and then cloning them somewhere else.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's like, I
never
don't
thought
know.
about that.
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I don't like this anymore. Okay, what's your subject? Jason?
Prestige.
And what if we accidentally like hit somebody else's particles and now we're like fused with them and crap?
Well, but that's
Well,
the thing.
they don't move. It's
Yeah,
copy and paste.
your particles don't move. Like they basically incinerate you.
Like if
where
we wanted
you
to
stand.
teleport you from your desk to like right here,
Oh no, that's even worse.
I would
misunderstood.
I would shoot you with whatever beam, and you would become particles that I couldn't see in the air, and the software would copy all those particles, and then it would in the air print them here and then bring them back together.
Yeah, but it would be out of new particles. They wouldn't actually transport the particles that make you there to there. It would just be new particles.
It'd be like Thanos snapping his finger, and you just but then you reappear over here.
Yeah. At least in the teleportation method that people have discussed.
Yeah.
Like, and
Theorized.
the only way to do teleportation in a way that wouldn't be destructive would be like what do they call it? Like bending space-time or
Yeah.
like black holes, where the idea of bending space-time is that somehow you would have a machine that would take 2 points in space, no matter how far apart, and you would actually bend space-time and put them together.
Yeah, if you think of it like a piece of paper.
Yeah.
And then you want to go from this corner to this corner, and you fold it up in the middle so it looks like an arch.
yeah.
And then so they're touching, and then you go through the paper to this side, and then you fold it back out.
Yeah.
Go from here to
That's
there.
better.
So that's the idea of bending space-time, exactly.
Right.
And so that would be a non-destructive way of teleportation.
Unless you're
Better.
destructing space and time.
Yeah, in that which case we would all die.
In which you
Then we would create a crack in time and space, just like with Doctor Who.
Yeah.
It's basically what you'd have to
we
do.
would have to fill all the cracks.
Either way, it's man trying to play God, and it's just crazy.
Yeah.
It's nuts, the stuff that people are trying to do.
Yeah, the things that people are attempting. Like, have you heard of the Large Hadron Collider?
Yes.
Yeah. So do you know what the intention of that is? Like what they're
I
trying
don't
to do?
remember the goal, but I know it was ridiculous.
Yeah, so the idea is they're taking two atoms, like the smallest things that you can get, and they're shooting them like in one starting point around the Hadron Collider, and then when it gets to the sensor, the collector, they smash into each other, and by the time they smash into each other, they're traveling at almost the speed of light. So as fast as theoretically you can possibly go. And they smash into each other, and it, obviously they like explode. But because of that, they're able to detect things that are theoretically there. Like if you do the math, they're theoretically there, but we've never been able to detect them because they're such minute, like low energy particles that they just like vanish. And you can't detect them. So in this moment where these two atoms are smashed together, or two particles are smashed together at insanely high speeds, it creates these molecules or things that exist for a moment that we can detect.
It's kind of like if you think of it like a hot and cold molecule when they hit, and it creates fog.
Yeah.
Or condensation, like when your hot exhaust hits cold air.
Yeah.
And that's why you see the smoke or whatever out of your tailpipe.
Yeah.
But it's a temporary thing. Two things hitting that are opposing at a high speed, and then it creates something you can see, and then it just kind of goes away.
Right, and then it dissipates.
Yeah.
So really interesting stuff, but it's insane like you were saying that like the things that humans are creating to try to do stuff that is just mind-boggling.
And everything has atoms and molecules like metal and parts of cars, car related.
Bingo.
Yay. So now we're out of conspiracy coach.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, let's get out of this coach.
Oh, I turned it off.
I would say that we could read comments, but we have none.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I know I just said that like
We can go back. I
15
wonder if
minutes
there's
ago.
any that
There
we
you go.
didn't answer from previous
Oh yeah, we could look.
episodes.
Maybe a couple weeks. Maybe. Well, it'd be like 3 or 4 weeks ago at this point.
Yeah. Let's see.
should we see if there are any comments on our first episode?
Our very first one.
Our very first.
Our very first episode.
our
I
baby
mean,
episode.
I don't know if there is any comments on our very first.
I don't know about that.
Maybe you could be the one that comments on our very first episode.
Electric Muscle Break
Yeah.
Check Podcast number 1.
Wow.
We have 3 comments on that one.
Oh, okay.
Really?
I actually can't remember. Like,
but there's only 2 showing up.
Oh, weird.
it
Oh,
might
well,
have
one
been-
of 'em
It might have been
is-
me commenting back or something.
No, one is a YouTube link that Mark gave us. One of them is, this is the one and only car podcast I will watch. Absolutely hilarious.
Was that a family member?
I was
or a
gonna say, I
friend?
think
It's a family member.
Dang it. See, I knew. Yeah.
And
Thank
then
you.
one of them from a Patrick says promo SM with a crying face. I don't know what that means.
I don't know either.
okay. Well, let's take the exit then.
Okay, don't forget, like, subscribe, share. It helps the algorithm if you like it. Maybe leave a comment. Leave a review. I don't know where you leave reviews on YouTube, but you can because I hear people say it all the time. Leave us a review. It helps us out.
Oh.
Yeah, give us a star rating, and I don't know, wherever you do that at it too.
Yeah, check out our website.
Ding the bell. Buy some merch. Help us out. We'll do cool stuff. Get some crazy carts and do nutty crazy stuff.
So they can try to throw banana cream cookies and stuff at me.
Yep. Take it easy. Bye.
Bye.